In today's video, we're going to be looking at a new piece of gear that I've recently acquired that has honestly just been an awesome piece, not only for me as a musician, but also me as a dad. And I think that what I'm about to show you is going to resonate a lot with a lot of you guys who are also family men. This video is made possible by Guitar Center. They sent over this unit for me to review. However, the opinions that I'm going to showcase are of my own. While they gave me the unit, they didn't tell me what to say. So these are just my honest to God opinions. After this video, if this looks like a piece of gear that you're interested in, please check out the link below. I'll link directly to it. Also, because this video is dropping during the holiday sale, Guitar Center is having sales up until the 24th of December where you can save up to 30% off. Links to that are also in the description. Alright, so the KC12, first of all, I use it for multiple different reasons in the studio. I use it as a monitor now, and at first I didn't really think about using it in that regard, because most of the time when you get a PA, you're thinking more like live performances. It's really grown in my life in multiple areas. One, it's always on in my studio now. It is just so much fun to play through this thing. It sounds incredible, even at low volumes, because as you guys know, I'm a full-time dad, you know, and I have a kid. My son is only 6 months old, so I can't be pushing super loud volumes, but at the same time, that doesn't mean that I want to give up quality of audio. This thing sounds great at low volumes, and especially good at high volumes. Now in the studio, I'm running everything through my Tascam 12, and then my Tascam 12 is being pushed out to the PA speaker and the Headrush FR, so I'm getting all the stereo effects. So when I'm building out these rigs, I'm able to hear in real time what it's going to sound like at a venue. And to be honest, this QSC KC12 sounds better than most venues I've played at. Now this thing is also kind of triple featured in my family life. One, it sounds great in the studio, and I don't mix on it, but I use it for composition, and I just cannot tell you how useful it is to have something that sounds like I'm playing on a large stage, but I'm in my studio. The second thing is that, you know, if I'm playing in a group that needs a PA system, now I can take that out for like acoustic duo gigs, which I've done a lot in the past. I haven't used the KC12 because this is a new product. It just came out recently. In the past, we used a JBL speaker, and one of the biggest gripes that we had with it is, like at low volumes, it didn't really sound good, and then at super high volumes, the low end got super boomy, so we had to find like that super sweet spot. I've been testing this, and it just sounds good at all volumes, which is just radical. You know, here in my studio, I keep it pretty tame, but when I do yard work, I take it outside with me, and me and all my neighbors hear my music. I'm sitting on less than an acre of land, and it pushes volume. Like I hear it all over my yard, and it just sounds great without being like overbearing. But the third area that I didn't really foresee this taking like a huge pivotal role, but it has, and that's within my family. During the Christmas time, we always do a huge family get together. And most of the time, you know, we're just kind of hanging out listening to like the TV radio. But this year's going to be different. Not only are we going to have really good audio, everybody's going to be able to hear it with over 20 plus people in a cabin with kids and all. So I see this thing being the centerpiece in like my child's birthdays, family get-togethers, and just anytime I've got friends over. Imagine having like a professional venue level sound at reasonable volumes at all of your family events. Now here's the other area where I really enjoy this thing is running my synthesizers through it, but more importantly, my guitar modelers. Now in the past, I've been using two FR cabs. I've used the Fender 12 and the Headrush 10, but I just feel like something has been lacking. And I don't know if it's the subwoofer or what, but this thing just sounds incredible. It really just reminds me of when I was gigging a lot and being mic'd running through a PA system. You know, and the good thing about that is that I'm able to test all of my tones in real time. Because some of the issues I've had running through like certain house PA systems is low end in a modeler would just crush you. This is why in my videos I always talk about pushing, you know, the high end up to like 120 to 150 hertz, and then taming the high end down to like 6K. But this thing just sounds great. It really does. For me, it's kind of like that missing link of feeling like I have an amp again, if that makes sense. For you guys who are running like acoustic duo gigs, this is still a perfect option for you. If you don't have a lot of gear yet, that's fine. This has some preamps built in for both microphones and microphones that require phantom power if you use input V. It has built-in reverb. You know, again, this is stuff that like most of the time you need to buy a mixing board and you know, traditionally you need a mixing board and then run that to your PA system. While I still recommend you get a mixing board, and I've got a video coming out on the Tascam 12, that's my favorite right now, the effects in this aren't horrible. They will get you by in a pinch, you know, like especially if you're just now starting to do this and you're starting to acquire your gear. This is something that you won't outgrow. This is something you'll be able to grow with, and I think that's really important, especially like when you're getting into guitar gear. It's easy to get into cheap stuff, but it's easy to grow out of that if you're doing this as a profession. So I would really recommend anybody who's interested in doing this full time to consider snagging one of these. And for the dads, if you want an excuse to get a killer piece of gear that's going to make your stuff sound even better, but also your family gets to enjoy it, this has just been awesome. Like my wife came in here and one of her number one things was, this sounds better than any venue I've ever been to. And I think that there's a lot of truth in that. And especially like without having your ears just being shattered. All right, I had some clips of me playing through this. In full disclosure, what I need you to realize is that there's no really good way for me to capture how this thing sounds in the room. And then between YouTube's algorithm and whatever speaker system you're gonna be listening to this to, it's not a real true capture of what I'm hearing in the room. Now, I am miking this in stereo using a SM57 and a SM58. So if you're familiar with microphones, those are the colorations that I'm getting. Also, I pulled them far enough back, about 2 to 3 feet, to try to give you a little bit of an idea of the room. But I would just really recommend that if you want to hear these in person, go to your local Guitar Center and check them out. You won't be disappointed. These things are like the best sounding speakers I've ever heard, and I've played through a ton of speakers. So in the clip of me playing, I was kind of pushing volume, but what I need you to really understand is that even at my quote unquote dad volume, which is where I need to play where I can hear this thing, but also like I'm not gonna wake up Nathan in the other room, this thing sounds great. And I think that that's like a really rare comment. I feel like most of the PAs I've played through, you get really good tones in that mid volume range. Once you start pushing it, you're gonna get really boominess, and then usually things are kind of meh at low volumes. This thing, I don't know how they have managed to do this, but it just sounds consistently great at all volume levels. And also like the Bluetooth option, I just can't tell you how awesome that is as a family man to be able to bring this thing outside, connect my phone to it, and it has a charger for my phone, and then go do yard work or whatever we're doing, bonfire, etc. So you're getting a lot of use out of this. This isn't just a performance tool. However, if all you're using it for is performance, you are going to sound better than most venues just with this one piece of kit. For my guys who have the Toolmaster Pro, seriously, to be able to run your own vocal chain through the Toolmaster Pro with your guitar chain and then running this directly into the PA system is just sonic bliss. You can thank me later. I want to give a huge shout out to Guitar Center for sponsoring this. Again, if you want to look at this, I really recommend you go to your local Guitar Center. But if you don't have one nearby, use the link below, check it out. Guitar Center has a 45-day, no questions asked return policy. I promise you, if you have any interest in this, you will not be disappointed with this piece of gear. This is literally the best sounding system I've ever heard. No matter if you're going to be gigging with it or if it's just going to sit in your studio and you pull it out for family events, this thing is killer.